All right. I am actually really excited for this one because I have Aby Rinella on the podcast, a homeschool mom, a Christian out of Idaho who's running a phenomenal ministry slash hunting experience for families with disabilities, and just all in all, just an awesome person. And I'm excited to have her on because it's just I want to hear about everything she's doing, what God is doing through her, and kind of how she's structured her family and her life around hunting and Christ, which is kind of what you've done. Very similar to what I'm doing with Tricer. So, Aby, how are you?
I am good. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of already did like a 30-minute podcast before this because
Yeah.
honestly, I got onto the pod like a few minutes late and then I was like, hey, who are you? Because I didn't know how Abby got on here. Like, because I've just been getting pods booked all week and she's like, I'm Aby Rinella. Yolanda sent me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You have
So
people that reached out to me. So,
I had people reach out to Abby to come on the pod, and I'm actually really excited. I'm hoping to get to know her a little bit better, her and her husband, and maybe do some stuff together within the ministry outside of just hunting or
yeah.
through hunting. So, Abby, tell me about you. Married, kids.
Yeah, I am married to the man of my dreams. We were 19 when we met, and we have three awesome kids, which is in the town I live in. If you have more than one kid, people frown upon you. But in the homeschool community, which we are a huge part of, three kids is also frowned upon because it's not enough. So
Five.
everywhere I go, I have the wrong amount of kids, but I have exactly the amount of kids God gave us. And they're awesome. And we just are very family focused and do everything with our kids, including everything in the outdoors. So, born and raised Idaho native. There aren't a lot of us anymore, but we are here. Those of us that have been around for a long time. So, that's kind of who we are. We run a nonprofit. We work in the homeschool world and the outdoor industry, and then we just do the day to day grind as well.
Yeah. So we have what's called. I go to a church called Foothills. We call it the Foothills Five. So there
Okay.
was this thing God did in like the mid 2000s where we all started having kids, and so like my whole group of friends, passenger vans and five kids. Some of them have like 8, right? So,
Right.
but yeah, the Foothills 5 is what we call it,
That's hilarious.
and you probably don't have a passenger van either 'cause you only have 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
So
Only three kids.
that's also frowned upon in the homeschool community. You have to have a passenger van
Totally.
that's growing like mushrooms under the seats because it's so
Yep.
dirty and there's french fries and stuff,
Totally.
right?
No, we didn't make it to the passenger van.
Yeah. Did you guys ever get the minivan or did you just stick with the
No, we
SUVs?
have a Suburban.
Yeah, so we had the Suburban too. We did that. It's a problem is for us is just so many kids. Like the rows are what's nice in a passenger van because like when you get 5 kids, like you almost want to separate them by row because you want to
Yeah,
kill them by the time you pull out of the driveway. Half the
totally.
time, even with
Right.
rows, they still find ways to fight. So in
Yeah.
the Suburban, it was like we had the captain's chairs in that one, and we had 5 kids, so every seat was filled. So you have three
Oh,
kids just touching for a ride to whatever. We do a lot of
right.
road trips, a lot of traveling, camping. The van was nice. We, especially my oldest boy, like you get the back row, you get the way back by yourself, just back there.
Yeah, I just always figure I don't know why they haven't come up with a window between like the front seats and the back so you can just like roll it up and then they can have their anarchy back there and you can just be in peace up front. Someone
Or
needs
like,
to invent that.
yeah, or like stray jackets, so
Straight jackets would work.
they
That would
can't
that would
touch
be an
each other.
excellent idea as well, as opposed to the seatbelt.
Yeah, expose the seatbelt, just like lock them in so they
For
cannot
sure.
touch each other. I have and you have 2 girls and a boy. You said
Two girls and a boy.
2 girls and a boy. So I have 4 boys, 1 girl,
Oh,
and
wow.
so the girl's like the saint of the family, the best, but then the boys like obviously like they just go at each other. So like right now, like we're dealing with like the 6-year-old and the 12-year-old. Like they love each other, but it's like, oh, you pissed me off. I'm gonna smash your Lego car yesterday, right? The 6-year-old
Totally.
knows how to get up, and like he's kind of my 6-year-old's kind of a gangster, and
Oh,
like so we got that going on, right? That dynamic of just like pecking order, especially with boys. There's always just like kind of pecking order with
oh,
boys, but
totally.
they say you're gonna miss it, and I do. Like I said, like my oldest boy's going to college this fall, right? And my second boy is in South Dakota right now running some booths for Tricer, and he's gonna be going off to college next fall, or I'm probably not college, I'll probably ministry. Um, and you are gonna miss these days.
Yeah. Oh, no question, for sure. I just feel like this is what God made us for, and I've always felt being a mom is absolutely the greatest call, the greatest blessing of anything I've done in my life. Being a mom is hands down, aside from being a child of God, obviously, but it's the greatest job, the greatest calling, and by far the hardest and most rewarding.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
Drew, can
but
I interrupt? Are you able to cut this out if I let my dog in? Sorry.
oh, I can pause it right now. Here, I'll pause.
Awesome. Get a dog, they said.
Oh, dude. So kids breed pets. So if you guys didn't catch that, we're playing again now. Abby and another dog out. We have three dogs. Like I don't know where they come from. Like kids breed pets. When you have kids, all of a sudden you end up with like chickens and dogs and like I don't know how many hamsters we've killed, how many guinea pigs we've killed. We killed those animals. Those animals,
Right.
fish. Like we've had fish like dry up from not getting their water
Totally.
changed. Like we are PETA's worst nightmare when it comes to pets. Like cats, like our cats are outdoor cats now. They just get eaten by coyotes. We just cycle through cats. Like they're free. Someone gives them a free cat. Like cool, it's an outdoor cat until it dies.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
he's kill mice for us, but whatever. So anyways, I like what you said. Like you called me a parent. You love your kids. Have that
Mhm.
experience with them. And really, like I tell people, I was having this conversation with somebody recently. While I was on a hunt. Actually, I was telling them like your only real legacy is your children.
Absolutely.
Really, like everything I build, like Tracer won't be here in 100 years. I'm not delusional.
100%.
Tracer won't be here in 100 years. You guys won't be here in 100 years. Your house will be probably destroyed in 100 years, rebuilt.
Right.
The only thing that will live on is your legacy through your children, your children's
Totally.
children, your grandchildren. And you only get this short period of time to influence them and create these like great human beings.
Absolutely.
And that is why we decided to homeschool.
Hmm.
And we decided to shape not our lives around our kids, but our kids' lives around ours and like what God had for us. That makes any sense. So
Right.
like
Totally makes sense.
instead of having to go and like we're gonna go to school 5 days a week, we're going to go to Hawaii for a month, or we're gonna homeschool there, or we're gonna go on vacation, or we're gonna go like this fall. My son has, I mean, like probably 40 days worth of tags from September through December, and we're gonna bring the Starlink along, and we're
Right.
gonna hunt and do homeschool out there. But I would much rather like you say like you if you want Romans, send your kids to Caesar.
Hmm.
Like don't expect to not get
100%.
Romans back when you send your kids to public school. Like I would much rather homeschool my kids, have them be a little different,
Right.
which they're not really different. They're actually more like adults,
Right.
than send them to school and let them have these experiences that we talk about. Like these party experiences.
Totally.
The high school experience is a terrible experience for kids. It's actually traumatizing. Most people are traumatized from it, and we've just. I would never go back. And we've homeschooled, like I told you before, since before it was cool. We've homeschooled since 2000 and I think 10 or 12.
Yeah.
So we've
Yeah.
just been
And
in
we've
it.
been there since 2011. It was the same thing. I mean, and our kids will be different, but when I look around the world, I praise God that they're going to be different, right? I mean, they're not going to be attached to their phones. They're going to understand what work ethic looks like. They're going to understand the value of family and one of the huge reasons that we love to homeschool, well, for many reasons. One, always to point our kids to truth, but it really gives us a lot of freedom. We don't take the Starlink along when we're out in the field, but we can totally schedule our homeschool schedule around hunting seasons. I mean, that's what we've always done. We'll school in August so that we can take archery September off, October, and we can schedule around that and still get our school done. Because school is life and home comes first, and kids learn through life experiences. My kids will never dissect a frog on a science table, but they will have broken down every big game animal you can imagine on the side of a hill, and they're going to learn
100%.
far more from doing that, right? And like you said, the whole legacy. My husband and I both come from kind of a hunting heritage. He grew up hunting. He comes from a family that hunts. I was the same. Um, and so we have this really rich heritage in the hunting world, in the outdoor world, and it's so important to us to be able to pass on that legacy, but more than that, the legacy of who our children are as children of God, and to be able to go into God's creation and see their creator, right? To be able to let that be a part of their education and a part of the legacy that we leave is really why we do a lot of what we do.
Yeah, and for us, like we really look at it and it's like in my mind, I feel like the public school system, for one, it's a one size fits all, which is
Hmm.
so not good for my kids,
Nope.
right?
Right.
And for two, it's like just turning out little employees.
Yeah, it is. It for sure is. I mean, but that's what it was created to do from the very beginning. It was created to make workers for a bigger system. I mean, that's exactly what the intention was from the beginning. When you look all the way past John Dewey, that was the original setup of the public school system. And so our kids can think outside the box. Our kids can become the entrepreneurs. Our kids aren't told what to think, but they're taught how to think. And that's something that's so important to my husband and I is we don't teach them what to think, we teach them how to think. And then there's nothing they can't learn. There's nothing. I was in a generation, we didn't grow up with the internet in elementary school. That'll tell you how old I am. But guess how fast we could learn it? Pretty fast, because that's what we can do. We're educated beings. So that's what we do every day, is teach our kids how to learn. There's going to be gaps. There's gaps in every kid's education, but they're going to be able to fill those gaps because they're curious, they're self motivated, and it's just one of the most awesome things I believe that you can do, not only for a kid's education, but for family unity, for sibling relationships, for parent child relationships, and even just for their walk with God, is just giving them a solid education at home.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like for one, my wife is a saint. She homeschooled her kids.
Hmm.
I'm just been the facilitator, right?
Yeah.
The disciplinarian, like the guy coming in.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it. Like I'm like hire a tutor, right? Especially when you get to like junior high, high school, and they're doing math that I never even did in high school. I'm just
Right.
like, yeah, right. Hire a tutor, right? And we've done really well at that. But like one of my biggest fears was like, dude, we barely graduated high school. How are we gonna raise these kids?
Right.
And like it turns out like some people are just smarter than other people. Like my 19-year-old's got a 4.4 GPA. He's off to school. He wants to go to Harvard. He wants to be a lawyer, right? Like,
Right.
and he turned out just fine. Like you're
Oh,
always worried, like, oh,
totally.
they're going to be dumb. They're not going to figure it out. Like,
Nope.
no, they will. And you'll figure out, like my wife has taught every one of my kids to read.
Yeah.
My 6-year-old is reading. And the cool thing is when you homeschool, you can do it at their pace.
A
You can be
hundred
like,
percent.
you could be like, hey, this is the read. We can just do only reading this semester,
Yep.
and we'll do math next semester, right? Like we'll
Totally.
figure it out. And like, and sometimes we'll have to be like, hey, man, like algebra two, you got to do it again, or
Yeah.
we just do it again. Like there's not
Yep.
like, oh, you have to keep going, like you're left
Right.
behind, and it's
Yeah.
just been,
And you can spend
yeah,
the time they need, and you also don't have to hold them back. Like if a kid wants to get ahead, you don't have to hold them back with the rest of the till the other
yeah.
kids are ready to move on. They can move on when they move on. You capitalize on their interests in the moment. I mean, I remember when my son was young, I thought he had he was struggling with reading, right? And I've taught all my kids to read, and he was kind of struggling with reading, and my husband walked in the door, and I was a public school teacher, so I had to really break through. It took me years to break out of that whole mindset of what education is, because solid education is not what you're seeing in the public schools, and it was not what I was taught as a public school student and as a public school teacher. So my husband walked in one day and he's like, I'm pretty sure he's not struggling with reading. I'm pretty sure that he's a 6-year-old boy that's sitting in a chair all day, and that would make any of us crazy. So he grabbed the book and he said, go climb up that tree. And he threw the book at my son up in the tree. And that kid read from cover to cover. And I realized this wasn't an academic issue. This wasn't a reading issue. This was that God created my son to be in the trees, to be outside, to be breathing fresh air, to be, in God's creation. And when he was in the element that he was created to be in, all of a sudden his mind was able to absorb every academic thing that I presented him.
Oh yeah. If Dylan, my 6-year-old, who rides his Stasic through the house and does burnouts everywhere, was in public school, I'm pretty sure all my kids get kicked out, but Dylan would be getting in trouble every single day.
Yeah, or they drug
He's
them to help them sit still,
or
right?
Dylan is like he's 6. He's our son that we've adopted, right? So, but he's so biologically he's not mine, but he like characteristically he's a lot like me. But he's just like he can do backflips. Like at 6 years
Yeah.
old, he can do backflips. He can race a dirt bike. Like I was outside right now and he's doing burnouts in my grass and the dog's digging next to him. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like but the cool thing is we
He's
can do the
being a
reading.
boy.
We could read for 30 minutes, then we can be
Yep.
like, go beat your brother to death with this sword for 30
Totally.
minutes, go jump in the pool, come back. Like our house is kind of set up for that, right? Like we have a pool, we have a trampoline, we have a basketball court, like basketball court, we have a basketball hoop, we don't have a court.
Right.
People, this it's just old house, 7 years old, it's not a mansion. But we have a basketball hoop, we have all this stuff going around, dogs, chickens, and they're out there doing that stuff, living life, and then
Right.
he could go back to reading a little bit, right? Or we can be
Totally.
like, stop, let's go to the park, let's
Yep.
come back,
Yep.
right?
And we can make what they're learning applicable to real life, right? It's not
Hmm.
this abstract textbook that they're looking at, right? Like our kids get to experience how their education affects real life, and that's what's amazing. And I dare say, and I hope to not offend anyone in your audience, but I do believe that it feminizes boys to be sitting all day long and not be able to just embrace the masculine way that they were created to be, to run, to jump, to climb, to conquer the things that are put in front of them. And it's just, it is not good on any level or healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially for kids to have to sit all day long and just regurgitate facts.
I mean, plus think about how many guys get out of high school and never sit at a desk again.
And then what did you
Straight,
say? Sorry.
never sit at a desk again.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
straight into
never.
construction,
Yep.
straight into something else, right? Like
Totally.
sales,
Yep.
never at a desk again, right? You know what I mean? It's just not for us.
Right.
And to go even further, we talked about like creating employees in public school. anymore, also creating Democrats. Like, I'll say it, right?
100%.
Also creating people who, are going to hate your values, right? Like, I'm from
Yeah.
California, where in our public schools now, 60% of the kids identify as bisexual, but they date the opposite sex,
Right, because they're sitting
right?
in these indoctrination camps all day long. And that's exactly what's happening. They're coming home with the values of somebody else. And that's the thing is when you send your kids out every day to sit at the feet of someone with completely different values than you have, then they're going to come home with those values. And you cannot unteach what they've been taught all day long in a matter of maybe an hour. I mean, maybe these kids get an hour. They go to school all day to these indoctrination camps, then they go to sports, then they go do this, then they go do that. And then you parents get the leftovers at the end of the day, maybe a half hour. You
Mhm.
can't unteach that, and you can't teach your values to your kids in that amount of time. And we're losing an entire generation.
Oh, 100%. And so hopefully if you're listening to this, obviously this is not a hunting, but this is like, I feel like there's so many of my friends in the industry who are on the fence with homeschool, right? And
Right.
that's why I'm like, I'd love to talk about homeschool. People, if
Right.
this touches one guy out there, then it was worth me doing this podcast. If you're turning it
Right.
off right now, I totally understand. Turn it off. I don't care. That's cool thing about this podcast. Talk whatever the hell I want to talk about. It's my podcast, right? So yeah. So there's this thing like something I think it's Chris Valentin said. You ever follow Chris Valentin or George
Mm-mm.
Bill Johnson, Bethel Church?
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit.
I think it's
I'm
Bill Johnson. The first thing you're taught, you judge everything against,
mm,
right? So if a kid goes to school like me, I learned about sex in third grade on the back of a bus.
hmm
Everything else that was told me after that was judged against what I heard that day,
totally.
right? So if your kids are going to school and they're learning about sex, learning about homosexuality, learning about two dads, two moms, dad is a mom. I mean, my
Right.
goodness, it's so terrible. Then you go back and you're like, hey, well, that's not okay. Then you are being now like, you're a racist dad or you're a
Right.
bigot dad, right?
Right.
And so everything your kids learn, everything else will be judged on that. So that's why like with us, like we start doing like this is totally off topic, but not real topic. We start doing sex talks with our kids at like 6 years old. We have books. We go through
Right.
a series of books that go from like kindergarten through like high
Absolutely.
school, and we start doing these talks with them, so they're understanding it from us. How
100%.
and when I say sex, I mean like God created a man and a woman at 5 years
Totally.
old, right? And we have these series that we do with the kids, so that way everything's being judged on that, not on
Right.
what they learn on. My goodness, you have to watch what your kids watch on TV. Like
Oh, it's insane.
every
And
show, they're
I
trying
mean,
to get your kids everywhere. They
yep,
hate the
they
devil
do.
hates your children.
Yep, he's after our kids. And speaking of that, I just did an interview with a gal named Greta Eskridge, and she just wrote in a phenomenal book called "It's Time to Talk to Your Kids About Porn." And none of us would have ever like that. That the name of that book like shocks us. But the reality is, we live in a culture. We live in a world that they're after our kids. I mean, they are literally after our children, and so we have to be like you said, we have to be the first voice that they hear in their head. We have to come at them with the truth so that they can combat lies. You know, you won't understand what a lie is if you haven't been rooted in the truth. And so that's what we get to do as parents is we get to root our kids in the truth. We get to be the first voice. And then when they're ready to launch into adulthood, their roots will go so deep. They'll be strong. They'll be stable. They won't have spent the last 12 years fighting for their faith. They'll be so ready to launch into the world that then they'll make a difference when they actually step out into the world rather than trying to find themselves. They will know who they are, image bearers, and they'll make a difference in the world.
Yeah, and so I'm not tooting my own horn, but like my wife jokes, we're now elders, right? We've done it. We've got a kid's at 19 right
Right,
now, and he's
totally.
doing it, and we're actually seeing the fruit of it now, right?
Yes, totally.
And trust me, like there's times where like my wife will tell me like you need to put him to school. Like you got
Right,
to put him. Like we have a Christian school. Like I'm on the board of my church. We have a giant school. Like we could put him into school.
right.
And there's times where yes, you want him out, but like you'll never look back and regret this. But maybe when your kid's 25 and voting totally different than you and
Right.
going through women and doing getting divorced, like you're gonna look back and be like, man, I wish I would have put. You can't ever go back on that,
Totally.
and
Totally.
you will never regret these times, even though they're
Nope.
really hard and they're
Right.
really frustrating. And trust me, I would. There's days where it's like I would really love to send all you guys off
Yeah.
and not
Well,
have you
and the
here right now.
truth, Drew, is it's a sacrifice. And okay, so let's just go here. This is a hunting podcast, and I know a lot of your
Mhm.
listeners want, they want the hunting content. And so let's look at it this way. My husband always talks about this generation of hunting that we live in, where well, and it could have been in the past too, but where dads leave the kids home. You know, there's this token term of like I'm
Mhm.
the hunting widow, right? And the men leave and they leave the mom home with the kids and they take off for the week hunt, and they go out there and they're after their trophies. And then they come home, and what he's always saying is, because I just married this incredible man who said, I'm never going to leave my family behind. Like, yeah, going out with a group of guys on these big hunts, it's easier. It's probably
Mhm.
more gratifying in certain aspects. He's like, but then I come home and I've left this family, and what legacy and hunting legacy is that leaving? So instead,
Mhm.
he has always, always, always taken our children from the day
Mhm.
when my little girl, she was 1 month old, and she was on my back and we were bear hunting. My son was born on September 22nd, and on October 10th, he was at deer camp. And you know what? It's a sacrifice. It's harder. It takes more work. It is grueling. I mean, we got this, you get an elk down 2,000 feet up, however many miles in, and it's a 110-pound woman, a grown man, and three little kids. It's brutal, but so it is hard. It's the same with homeschooling. We're not telling you it's easy, but anything worth anything is hard. There's sacrifice, it's difficult, you die to yourself, but in the end, the fruit is, in both worlds, you have a generation. You have a generation that gets to carry on that legacy, right? Like,
Mhm.
because we've never left our kids home to chase the trophy animal, we're going to hand down our hunting legacy. That's part of conservation, right? I mean, we're conservationists, and if we want the hunting world to go the way that it is, then we're going to need a generation below us that's going to have the same values. And it's the same with homeschool. It is a sacrifice. It's hard. When that yellow bus goes by on the street, there are days you are like, stop at my house, please, I want to put them on. But then you do the hard thing and you make the hard sacrifices, and in the end it is so worth it, and there's so much more of a gain than if you would have done it any other way.
Yeah, for sure. I always, and again, I'm not tooting my own horn, but like I didn't kill a buck from like 2019 to
Mhm.
2023,
Right.
but my kids killed everything,
Yep,
right? And this
that's where
year, like I
absolutely.
took my you'll see my hunt films. There's always almost a kid in the film, right? Some like I'm going to Alaska by myself this
Mhm.
year, but basically from September through December this year, I don't have a tag. I'm just guiding. The kids
Yep,
have three
that's what we are. We're the
tags.
Sherpas now, right?
Kids have three tags, and the father-in-law has a
Yep.
tag, right? And the father-in-law's tag is after we're gonna be in Arizona for like 3 weeks. We're bringing the whole family over to a Airbnb. Daughter's not gonna hunt. That dog don't hunt. She ain't gonna hunt. But we
Yeah.
do dates every week together. We go out. We went and got ice cream this week together. We go out and get breakfast and just talk. And she just wants to tell me how every freaking boy. My daughter is the most beautiful thing God ever made. Every boy loves her. Every boy. Oh, it's unreal. Like it's like a dad's worst nightmare, but at the same time, like she's just so pure that she's like, I'm not gonna date till I'm 17 anyway. So but she loves telling me about how
Right.
every boy is like, she's dyeing my best friend's son's hair pink this week
Uh,
because, and I'm like, she's like, I can't believe she let him do that. I'm like, I
totally.
can. Have you seen my daughter? I can. She wrapped around his finger. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh,
it's like, but, where are we going with that? Oh, just get him on the field. And the
yeah.
thing is, like, you can't get it back. Like
No.
last year
No.
was my son, it was his last year hunting,
Yeah.
basically. Like he's 18. We went
Yep.
hunting together. This year, I'm not putting him in for any tax. He's going to college. He's going to college for
Right.
6.5 years.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
he's
I
probably
mean,
going to
you
get
have the
married.
rest of your life to go hunt with your buddies and go, but the reality is, and it's more than just hunting with your kids. It is it's men valuing
Yeah.
family and
It's the
being
10-hour or 16-hour car drive with those kids,
yeah.
talking to them.
Yeah, it
What more
is.
do you get that?
Getting to know them and being there
Yeah.
for them. And I mean, it's sending messages saying you're worth more than anything else. And I really think that that's what's missing in the world today is we have absent fathers. We have moms that are more invested in what they want to do. But it's like, and and I know now that we're kind of on the other end of this, and we have kids that are launching, it's like you can't get it back, and you have the rest of your life to chase those things. You only have one shot with these kids,
Mhm.
and doing the time when they're little, and it is harder, and you're going to have to say no to a lot of self, gratifying things, but it's so much better. We eat our tags every year to hand them off to the kids, like to take the kids, but it is so much greater to watch those kids get their animals down and to be there and to be a part of it and to work as one unit and a team. It's what you experience in the field as a family. It's just mind-blowing, and it's incredible.
Speaking of kids, here's Dylan. Say hi, Abby. Hey,
Hi,
okay, shut
Dylan.
the door, bro. Shut it.
That's
I normally
awesome.
I normally lock my office, but no, he shut the door with him in my office. I meant to shut it with you on the outside. Anyways, um, yeah, like so. good example, right? I took my son to Africa this year, my 11-year-old.
Mhm.
It was so much like, I could care less about shooting an animal in Africa. Dude, seeing
Right.
him just
Yep.
rope an ostrich at 510 yards,
Isn't it the
right?
coolest?
And it's the coolest feeling in the world, right? And, like, dude, I could tell you like I just started big game hunting in like 2015, and like I
Oh,
pretty much cut my teeth learning how to hunt by bringing these kids out. But they've
yeah.
killed so many animals now, right? And like them shooting a doe is so much
Yeah.
better than me shooting a giant buck because like when they get
100%.
it down and like not only that, it's the like I said the car ride, right?
Yep.
It's them being in the car with me for 12 hours listening to old
Totally.
country music or old rock and roll and just talking
Yep.
and like founding these like memories and sitting around a fire or him sitting next to like I'm running Tricer. We'll go do meetings on these hunts. We'll sit with people and talk to them, and they're sitting there
Yep.
and they're hearing me talk with another dude in camp about business, and they're getting that degree. Like,
Right.
what a better
Totally.
degree to get from me than to
Yeah.
get from some teacher?
Well, and with boots on the field in the field, right? Like they're actually
Yeah.
seeing it happen in real life, not in a textbook. And you're right. Like when you're in the field with these kids, you experience the misses. I mean, there is nothing more gut wrenching to be in the field and experience that with your kids when they
Oh, the
miss or
tears.
when they blow the
Oh,
animal. But it's like the bonding that happens, the fact that you're setting up their life to say, I'm here or in the harvest and I'm here in the miss. Like I'm here for all of it and we're in it together. And at the end of the day, we get to point back to God who created the creation that we're in and them for on purpose for a purpose and to be there with them for every one of those things. And then the hardest day was when my son turned 13, he took off on his own with his bow on his back and he's like, this is what you've trained me to do. And it was like my heart just like walked away from me up that hill and he was gone all day. And part of me was like, that's because he knows that when he gets home, he's got math to do. So that kid's not going to stop chasing animals because he wants out of math. But that day, he was able to send us a spot from the Garmin and he got a nice buck down with his bow completely and totally on his own at 13. And you know what? Everyone was like, whoa, how did he do that? And I said, here's how he did that. His dad never left him, not once. When he was from the day that kid was born, that kid was with his dad on every hunt and the hits and the misses and the hard and the sacrifices. And it's because of that sacrifice that kid was able to go out there. And that day in the field, he became a man, right? Like he did it on his own. And he got home and he said, Dad, it wasn't as fun without you. He was proud of himself. It was awesome. But it's that relationship that you're setting up. You are setting up relationships. And to go back to the homeschooling thing, that's what you're doing also. You're setting up lifelong relationships with your kids. And it's the greatest blessing that there is.
yeah. I love like for me like there's nothing that teaches a kid hard work like suffering on a hunt. Like
Yes.
we went like I think it was day 6 of 7 on my kids' mule deer hunt last year. He passed 15 deers. They ended up shooting a giant last year. And, like, I remember telling him, like, "Man, you have more grit than 99%
Hmm.
of dudes." Like, and it's because we've been doing it for just
Yep.
suffering from the
Yep.
beginning. Like, his favorite hunt with me, like, no joke, his favorite hunt with me was when he was, like, 3 years old, and we went out hunting rabbits, and
Yes.
we ended up just shooting stink bugs with a shotgun.
That's awesome.
Because we couldn't find any rabbits. So we couldn't find any rabbits.
Right.
We ended up shooting and, like, to this day, this kid talks about that, but
Yes.
it's like, what a stupid hunt, but how much
Yeah.
did that mean to him, right?
Yeah.
And just
That was
getting
the
out there
trophy.
and that was and, like, you know what I mean? And then when you're duck hunting with them and they're
Yep.
missing everything, but you're pulling the
Yep.
trigger at the same time and they think they
Yep.
killed everything, like,
Yeah.
dude, my kids, when they were 7, 8 years old, thought they were the best shots in the world, right? Because 'Cause you're just pulling the trigger at the same
You're just
time,
following up totally.
and they're and it's always gradual, right? Like, you're not I always tell people all the time, like, you need to be gradual in how you do things with them, like, don't force them into these crazy hunts. Do the
Totally.
small stuff, do the
Yep.
does,
Yep.
they have just as much fun at Temple too, like, you don't need a giant you need a $50,000 bass boat, they have just as much fun fishing bluegills from the shore. It's the time in
100%.
the field that
Yep.
gets them there, and I'm telling you right now, I do not regret it at all. Like,
No.
I'm
Not
so
one bit of
excited
it.
and I'm so excited to do it again now with my now 12-year-old and then soon to be Dylan, who is going to be going out with us a lot too. Like it's just, that's the one thing I think that's the most foundational part of the life was being in the field with dad
Yep.
and learning how to be a man.
Yep.
Watching me, dude, I'm telling you right now, I can think of like 2 instances where I made kids cry because I was so pissed. Like, and then I might have to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And like have to talk to him, like tell him I'm sorry. Like it's just an animal. Like it's not your fault, right? Like
Right. Totally.
when you land, trust me, when there's times with kids where you land an animal for 6 hours and then like
Yep.
they miss or they can't find it in the scope and they blow it, and you're just like,
Yep.
I've had two experiences for sure where I had to sit down and be like, I didn't handle myself right with you.
Right.
But what a learning experience,
But
right? And just
there's the
talking to them.
lesson for them, right? And there's the lesson for them and putting it all back into perspective. And I think that's what, I mean, my husband, I always laugh because, I mean, he's killed so many incredibly, incredible animals that people are envious of. And he was asked one time on an interview, like, what was your favorite hunt, like of all your hunts? And everybody's waiting for like the huge and the this and the that and all the things he's gotten. And he said, it was my very first squirrel hunt with my dad. And hands down, still to this day, of all that he's done. And he said, it's because I had waited so long to come of age and be able to do that. And, to have that experience with my dad. And it just fascinated me that, from of everything that he's harvested, of all the experiences he's had, that goes down as his number one top hunt. And it was precious. And it was because why? Because his dad was with him, because it was him and his dad in the field, and it was just a special thing. And his dad knew how to make every single thing special, from the stink bug, like you say, to the huge trophy elk. It's all a gift because it's time spent.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll go down and just go crawfishing with the kids.
Yeah.
Go down like we have a little bluegill pond, and we take fishing poles with worms. We'll just pull 100 freaking crawfish out of this little
Right.
pond, and they love it. It's just as much
Yeah.
fun, right?
Totally.
Sometimes dad gets so down on themselves and they're like, "Well, I can't do." I get it. Some of you guys are out there working. I was up until last year. I just quit my job, to do this last year. I was doing 6, 7 days a week, and I was doing
Yeah.
all the hours. And you don't have to do the vacation to Hawaii.
No.
You could do just go to the park.
Yes. a
It's
hundred
just
percent.
any
It.
time with your kids is what
Yep.
they need.
And I'll tell
Um,
you the other big message is, in the middle of hunting season, when your kids know that that's so important to you, right? Like, these kids know that's dad's like favorite season. And to be able to see dad go, I'm not hunting this weekend because I'm going to be at your game, or I'm hanging up the rifle or the bow this season because you're in ballet and I'm going to be at every one of your shows, right? And it's even sacrificing the time in the field, right? Like we just said, the time in the field matters so much, but the sacrificing of the time in the field matters just as much to your kids. It's saying,
yeah,
you matter more to me than this hobby, than this thing that I'm pursuing. Because at the end of the day, our legacy is our children. At the end of the day, we're only accountable for one thing. We're not going to be accountable for how many harvests we had and the biggest animals. That's all just world notoriety. What we're going to stand before God on is, did you answer my call as a father, as a mother, as a parent?
I always say that if I lead 1,000 people to Christ and my kids don't know God, I feel like I failed.
A
And
hundred
I know that's
percent.
a little bit harsh because you start
Yeah.
learning as your kids get older, they make a lot of stupid decisions.
Well, and they have
They have
free will,
they
right?
have free will. But
Totally.
like I want to know, like when I stand before God, that I did everything I could to raise my kids right.
Right, right. Because
So
God's not going to ask you how many animals you killed, right?
he's not going to
He,
care.
no, he's not going to care at all. But he is going to say, did you point your children to who I am in everything?
We have this big debate in our house that I always say animals don't go to heaven. And my wife's like, yeah, they do. And I'm like, if that's the case, there's gonna be so many animals in heaven that I sent there. There's gonna be,
They can thank me.
they can thank me. I sent so many animals to heaven because I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get into like where your dog goes when he dies, but I don't know,
Oh, that's so
whatever.
funny.
So we talked about homeschool, right? But I
Yeah.
do want to put a focus onto your guys' ministry you guys have. You
Okay.
call it a ministry, right? Or
Yeah.
nonprofit, I guess you call it.
It is a ministry. It's 100% a ministry.
So let's
It
talk
is a
about it. What's it
nonprofit.
called? What is it?
Okay, so it's called Beyond Adventures. So we kind of, in our outdoor writing and kind of on social media and stuff, we are called to the top. And so, like we've discussed, our family has just always we're very family focused, and our mission and our when we speak across the country, when we write, it's really just about family in the field and how important it is that we do it as a family, basically everything that you and I just talked about. And I remember sitting one day on the couch and my husband just said, I just can't imagine as a dad not being able to do what I do with my kids. I can't imagine, and he goes, there are dads out there that can't do this with their kids due to a kid's disability, or kids that have cancer. He's like, there are a lot of dads who probably just feel so incredibly hopeless, like they want to give these opportunities to their kids, but they can't. And so he just said, I want to be able to take what God has given us, as far as just our physical ability, our physical health, our just what we do, and be able to come alongside families, and help get them out together. And so it was out of that in 2020, the worst year on the planet to start a nonprofit, right? We had no money. We had no clue what we were doing. We knew nothing about even what a nonprofit was, but God put something on our heart and we said yes. And after that, it was just incredible to see the doors open and just little by little, baby step by baby step. Um, and we've been running it now for 5 years. We do anything from big game hunts. We just did a big game hunt last year, and I can tell you a little bit about that story if you want to. We're doing this coming weekend, we're doing a jet boat sturgeon fishing trip with, a 13-year-old boy who has a cancer diagnosis that doesn't look very good. Um, Across the board, we just got home 2 weeks ago from taking a little girl from India. She was found. Um,
One
she was,
second, let me
that's
pause
okay.
this. I'm gonna.
Yeah. All right. So we just took this little girl that she was found by a garbage heap in India because she had disabilities. And so, her life was not deemed valuable by people. And she was found, taken to an orphanage. A family here in Idaho adopted her. But they have a family of 4 other kids. And because she's unable to walk, she's now 7. So she's getting a little big for dad to pack around on his back. And so the family was always divided to go do outdoor adventures together. They couldn't all go together because someone had to stay home with her. So we just decided we found this incredible device that he could put. It's like a one-wheel device that she rides behind him, and there's nowhere that guy can't go now. And so
Really,
we just took them on this really awesome backpacking trip. And our heart is just to we don't do the work, we facilitate the families to do the work together. We don't take the kids. It's not one of those take my kid for this amazing adventure. It's that we come alongside families and we like to be in the background and facilitate moms and dads being able to do this with their kids. So it's a whole family thing. It's, our heart is, our purpose is to point to, the value of life, which is something that is not valued right now in our culture. And we know that every life has value. And the blessing of family. And when we see the family being under attack the way it is in our country, we just want to point to, God designed family on purpose for a purpose. And we need the family. As a nation, we need the family. And then the third thing is to point to our creator through his creation. We work, in the outdoor world, a lot of people worship the creation. They're obsessed with the creation. They're obsessed with the animal, the mountains, the peaks, which we all love that, but they forget why. And it's because we have an almighty creator that created us in his image, and he created the creation. And that's why we have such an awe for it. And so we want to be able to get families out to point to the creator through his creation and the value of life and the blessing of family. So that's what we do. We do it kind of strangely on the side because we still have to pay our bills. And, my husband's still working the grind, the awful grind that he hates, but he does it every day to provide for me to stay home and homeschool our kids. And then we just do Called Beyond as a family. Our kids are 100% involved in everything. Our son helps guide. Our oldest daughter does all the admin stuff. And then our littlest is just like there for morale. Um, but we do that in our time off. Our heart, our dream, what the Lord has put on our heart is that we would be able to do this full time someday and be able to, reach more families, even maybe have chapters in other states where other people, come alongside and do this where they are, under Called Beyond's umbrella. So that's what Called Beyond Adventures is and does.
that is awesome. And I can tell you, like, some of this stuff hits close home with me, right? You talk about like the bio kids and all the other kids. Like
Mm-hmm.
when we became foster parents, because I have a foster ministry, I don't want to go too much into that. My The whole world became around our foster son because it was like we had 3 visits a week with mom and dad. We had
Right.
lawyer visits, all this stuff, and then our bio kids were suffering, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
like my best friend has a son with cerebral palsy, right?
Mm.
And we used to vacation together every single year. And now this baby was supposed to die at 1 day old.
Mm.
Now he's 10, right? But he's still cerebral palsy. He's still extremely disabled. And their life's completely changed because of it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like we
Right.
can't go to the gym in the mornings together. We can't
Totally.
vacation together. Like I said, hey, I will pay for you to go to Hawaii with me last week. And then
Yeah.
we can't go. Like I will pay for you to fly with me. All you gotta do is
Right.
get on the plane. And they couldn't because like they have this son who's extremely
Right.
disabled. And that
Right.
son will be there the rest of their life,
Yep.
right?
Totally.
It'll be there until they're 80 years old. He will
Yep.
be in their lives, right? Um, And for someone to come alongside, I can tell you the biggest thing that happened with me, because now I'm the board president of this foster ministry. I was family number one.
Mhm.
People came alongside of me, and I'm the most anti-help person in the world. Like, I'm a leader, I don't need help.
Right.
And we were family number one. I actually went to this meeting because I wanted to facilitate this ministry into my other foster ministry. And they're like, no, we want you to be the first family. And like getting that
Wow.
help and getting that
Yeah.
support, it
Right.
it changed my life. Well, now, I
Totally.
mean, now I'm in charge of this thing, but like for someone to come alongside of a family who has a disabled kid and
Right.
the other kids see that.
Yeah.
It's not just so much of it is like all you see is like, yes, that kid has cancer.
Yeah.
But the other four kids who are in that
Totally.
house now, that kid with cancer is getting all that attention and they're
Yep.
getting none, right? And they
Totally.
they, they feel neglected, even though it sounds they feel selfish for feeling that, right? Like, so like you said, bringing in like that whole family out with the
Yeah.
disabled kid from India, it was just as much for the rest of the kids as it was just
Well,
for that
and
disabled kid.
honestly, Drew, it was probably more for them because this little girl, I mean, I will just be honest, she has enough brain damage that I don't think that she doesn't feel sad that she's left behind at home with mom when
Mhm,
everybody does cool stuff. She probably didn't even realize this is so cool to be overlooking this lake up on this mountain. But what it was the little boy that turned and said to my husband and I, he's like, now we can go with mom and dad. We can all go together. And it was those other four kids that always felt like it's either dad going to take us and mom stay home or mom going to take us and dad stay home. And it was for those four kids to be like we're all out here together. And for the
mhm,
dad who said, like it's such this tear. I can either go do these things with my kids but I'm leaving my wife at home or I stay home. And it was just for him to be able to be up there with his whole family knowing that he did that and that he's there. It was such a blessing to see. And honestly, we just facilitate it. And then we left that device with them because our goal is also then that whatever we do, we can leave these families with the ability to continue to adventure together. It isn't we're not the heroes in this, these parents are the heroes. I mean, these we walk away at the end of these adventures and we go back to our life, but they're the ones that, like you said, that every day in and day out, because they've done the ultimate sacrifice of choosing life, which God blesses. But they're in it every day, and so if we can just come along a little bit and just kind of open the door for them to something they otherwise would not be able to do, then that's what we want to do.
yeah, that's incredible. Very similar to what we're doing down here. And you hear people say all the time, like, "I could never do that. That'd be
Right.
so hard. Like, I could never be that. I would love to adopt a kid from India, but that'd be just too hard."
Yeah.
And these people did it,
Yeah, they
right? And
did.
now that kid and these people honestly just give up the rest of their lives for that kid because that kid's going to be
100%.
disabled when she's 18 as well,
Yep.
and 25 and 30 and
Yep.
40, right?
Yep.
And I can tell you right now, like coming alongside of a family like that means the world to them because I was that
Yeah.
family, right?
Yeah.
I was that family who was just drowning,
Right.
and being able to facilitate that and just come alongside of them means the world to them, and giving them it's more than just the experience. It's like
Mhm.
knowing that hey, someone else is out there helping us and supporting us.
Totally.
Someone else is willing to like we're willing to make this ultimate sacrifice if they're willing to make a week of sacrifice.
Totally.
And honestly, there's nothing more rewarding than that, right? That's why I'm going to Kenya in the middle of my hunting season.
Right.
Like I'm going to Kenya from October. My church doesn't. We're from San Diego. They don't hunt. They don't understand anything. The dates are October like 20th through November like 5th. Like the
You're like, "That's
worst
the
dates,
worst."
worst
Totally.
dates in the world. And I was
Right.
like, God have given my kid drew the statewide Utah general bull tag during the rut with a rifle.
Oh,
So I
nice.
told my kid, I'm like, if we do this, God will give us a tag to watch. And we got my kids
Yeah.
have three. They got some awesome tags out of it.
That's so cool.
But I know that it's much more rewarding for me to go do that and to serve
100%.
kids and do that than to go and go hunting. The
Yeah.
hunt will go
Well,
away,
and
but
you're sending your kids a message of, it's greater to serve and come alongside others than it is to go serve ourselves. At the end of the day, you'll walk home with a bowl. Big deal. Right? I mean, how many other times can you do that? But at the end of the day, when we're serving other people, like it's kingdom work, it's eternal stuff, it's stuff that matters, it's stuff
mhm.
that, like we talked about, leaving a legacy. Like these are the important things, and we're teaching our children that when they see us make those sacrifices, and that's what's important. That's what really matters. That's what we stand accountable for.
And again, back to the homeschool thing, like what are you teaching your kids doing this stuff? Like when
Yeah.
you're doing
Well,
this kind
and
of
that's what's
sacrifice and
cool
doing it with
is
them, working with them, it's
right.
huge.
And because we homeschool, we can do this, right? Because we homeschool, we can take the time to go do this. And my daughter runs a lot of she does a lot of the admin side of things. My son gets to guide, which means, I mean, that's business minded. It's so cool. And also just the compassion that our children learn. But like you said, when we come alongside other families, I mean, ultimately, we're the body, and that's what we're meant to do. Like, so when you choose to adopt a kid, we're all called to come along inside you and support you. Like, we're not meant to do it, alone. And I'm not doing the whole it takes a village to raise a kid, because I've seen the village and they're not raising my kid. But when you come along Christians and you all come together to answer the call and to do what God has called, it's carrying one another's burdens, and that's what we're called to do. And it blesses everybody in the process.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, same thing with like we went to when I my first year my son went to Kenya. His teacher was like, "We're probably going to." We do like a co-op type deal, right? Where you
Uh-huh.
sometimes we do like
Right.
a charter school, so he can go to school like one day a week for math or whatever. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna have to fail him because he's missing these tests." And we're like, and I was like, "Cool, fail him.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, he's gonna get way more out of Kenya than he is out of your stupid
Yeah.
class. Like, dude,
100%.
trust me, he's got Chat GTP now. We don't need your class. Sorry." Um, I hate to say that, but like it's
Yeah.
a reality, right? Like whatever you're going to teach them, we can look up in 3 seconds on the internet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and like this is the point, and like you get so much more out of that, and like having your kids serve
Yep.
more so than like my kids do. My son runs junior high group with me, right? And then they
Right.
also do an after school Bible club once a week with grandma and my wife. And they've been in my house. They've seen me do Bible studies in my house for 16 years, right? And they've been involved in all those ministries. um that's more important to me than the hunting, honestly,
Oh,
is like the
totally.
ministry side and like bringing my kids. Like,
Absolutely.
I am so pumped for this trip to Kenya this year because I'm developing a program to send our youth there to live there. My son will go live there next year, and I'm bringing like all my friends at Foothills 5, like all these kids that grown up, they're all 16, 17, 15 years old. I'm bringing like 5 of them with me. And
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
I told them last night we had a meeting. I'm like, you don't understand, like you guys are teaching. You
Right.
guys are going to step into the anointing. You're going to do this stuff, and God is going to move in your life, and something foundational is going to happen over there in doing this. And if we weren't homeschooling, or every kid going is a homeschooled kid,
Yeah.
it'd be October, they'd be going to public school, right? And
Right.
like getting the
Right.
opportunity to do that is so much more foundational than anything that some teachers can teach them. I'm
100%. And
sorry.
they'll learn so much more. I mean, they will learn so much more hands-on than they ever would in a textbook. And ultimately, I just think, what are we created to do? What are we really meant to be here for? Like, I don't know, everything we do is based on the word of God. And I look in there and I'm like, there's nothing about GPAs and algebra twos and
It's so
chemistry
stupid.
this is, and it's not in there, right? And so if our kids are called to do something, God's going to give them what they need to do it. So if my kid needs to know chemistry to do what God's called him to do, then we're going to learn chemistry. But if they're not, then I mean, I don't know, call me, we're not going to. I half the things that I quote unquote learned in public high school and then
More than
college and
half.
right,
More
I
than
don't I
half.
don't know any
more
of
than,
them. I don't
more
use
than
them, nor do I even remember them, right? But I do know this. I know that when God calls me to do something, he gives me what I need to do it. And like we said before, it's a group effort. Like when you adopted that or when you fostered that first child, you needed people to come around you because we are the body. And it's the same with Called Beyond. Like our family has the ability to do it. We have the
Mhm.
ability to like put these things on and come alongside these families, but we don't have, we need the other people that have the finances to help us, right? We need the other people that will volunteer. We need the other people that will provide the gear, all the different things. And so it isn't the Rinella family that does this. This is God's ministry, and he's just placed us in this particular position in this ministry, and then it takes others to make it all happen.
That's awesome. So, how can we support you? You guys have banquets? You guys have dinners? You guys have stuff like that going on yet?
So like I said, we're one family, and in 2020 this was our prayer that God, we're going to say yes to this, but take it at a pace that we can still, because our kids are our first ministry. Our home is our first ministry. We homeschool. Jesse still has to pay our bills. And so it has been at a pace that has been manageable. We have older kids and we can blow this thing up now. We're able to just time wise and with the age of our kids now go full time doing this. And so we're moving into a position where it's just as the money comes in, we bless a family, and that's how we do it. There's not paid staff. We just as the finances come in, we put an event out there and people sign up or apply for it. We'd love to move into a place where we do, wild game banquets to support these kids and these families, and eventually bring, maybe go full time, be able to be on staff and go full time and just bless families and open up, like I said, chapters across the country, because there's a lot of hunting opportunities, or it doesn't even have to be hunting, hiking, backpacking, fishing. across our country. And there's a lot of people that have the ability to help other families get out there. So, um, we know with God, when He calls us to do something, it could grow as big as He allows it to grow. So we just pray that when people put it on their heart, that they'll support what we're doing, and we all come in along and do it together.
That's awesome. You have a website?
Yes, it's called beyondadventures.org.
Call Bond Adventures, and I'm sure you can go on there and donate.
Yeah, and the other thing we do that's really fun is we try to film a lot of these. One is we just had a last year there was a dad. This is kind of a sad story. He has two older daughters that he always hunted with. They always they elk hunted, and the girls had their elk ivory jewelry, and then they had kind of like a 9-year gap, and then they had another surprise. You're pregnant again. Um, and when that youngest daughter turned 12, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. 45 years old, diagnosed with Alzheimer's, couldn't drive, could no longer work. And she had turned of age to go elk hunting with him, and he was just devastated. He couldn't take her. And her sisters had gotten to go, and it was always this father daughter, and she'd waited her whole life to be able to go with dad. And now, because of dad's disability, he was not able to take her. And so that's where we got wind of this family, and we stepped in and we're like, no, we're going to make it happen so dad can take her. And we did as much in the background as we could so that we were not like he got to be by her side when she shot,
Mhm.
he got to help her, pack it, like, but he couldn't do it without us. And so we, or not without us, he couldn't do it without help. And so God just put us in that place. And so that was all filmed by a production company, came along and said, we want to be able to tell this story. And so several of our stories have been shared as production companies come along, because there's a lot of hunting shows out there, but they tend to glorify the hunter or the big harvest, or it kind of seems an all
Mhm.
eyes on me thing. And we want to be able to share the stories of just the bigger picture of what is going on in the field, right? The connection between the people, that the ultimate harvest, the ultimate trophy on that hunt was that dad was there when she pulled the trigger. The ultimate trophy isn't always what you think it is. So that's another angle of what we do. You can find all those videos on our website as well. Everything's there.
That is awesome. Aby, this was a breath of fresh air. I think what you guys are doing is incredible. I look forward to hopefully growing a relationship with you guys as well and getting to know you more. Go visit callbeyondadventures.org. Go support them. I'm sure they're on Instagram as well. Call Beyond
Yep.
Adventures.
Yep. Called Beyond Adventures everywhere you can find us.
Everywhere you can find them, YouTube, a whole nine. Thank you
Awesome.
so much. Let's
Thank
continue this
you.
relationship.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to be on your show. Thank you so much, Drew. I appreciate all that you do as well.
Thank you.